Hey everyone, welcome back to the Circle Club. I'm Tyrone. I'm here with my friends. Oh, Mr. Taco, making sure you can hear us. You're all good, buddy?
Yeah,
I'm here with
I
Taco
good.
of something to talk about, and Miss Jamie Lee up in the front row. We are movie mates, but we're also good mates and friends. How's everyone doing today?
Really good. Ready to talk some Succession.
Fantastic.
Yep.
I watched it 1.5 times last night, and then halftime while I was riding my bicycle today.
Awesome.
Um, it
That's
was
awesome.
mostly listening and
I was
then
gonna say
watching at stoplights.
multitasking.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you because you're usually a big podcast guy. Like you'll listen to the podcast after. I saw Jeremy Strong and Skarsgård was in
Yep.
the that, so I didn't get to hear it yet.
The official HBO one, yeah, and then they're splitting into a two-parter, and then the directors at Mark Millar, I can't remember his name right now, but
I'll
he's
look
going
it
to be
up.
in the second part. But yeah, they had Alexander Skarsgård and Jeremy Strong at this one was split, and it was really good. It's so funny the juxtaposition of Alexander Skarsgård, like just talking about it like it's acting, and then you
Yeah.
get into Jeremy Strong, and he's talking about all of his method acting and how he literally drank the King's thing
I
multiple
know.
times, and he had
Oh,
to go
God.
vomit each time, and it's like,
And
she's
how
like,
he
"Why'd you do that?"
how he dramaturgically breaks down a scene and everything.
Yeah, yeah, he's a really smart guy. I'm on Brian Cox's version of just pretend that like you don't need to torture yourself that much. But hey, we get amazing performances out of him. So what am I gonna do?
I'm no Jeremy Strong here, but like when I was younger, I used to do some theater acting and stuff, and like I, for the life of me, like could not. I just was not one of those people who could just go like, "Hey, we're having a conversation," and then turn it on. So like we'd be off stage, and I'd just be like, "Let's just everyone stay in character," and like that's kind of how it was. And I think some people they just got it, some don't. Jeremy Strong is also from Boston, so he's very pretentious. He's very snobby. Also probably why I'm a bit that way too.
Get out.
But anywho, no, like we'll get into that because I did. So you did listen to the podcast.
I did, yes.
Okay, good. So maybe you can give us some of those gems later. But first, Miss Jamie Lee, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah.
Good.
Hacked off my finger, but otherwise good.
Well, don't show it because we don't want to get warned.
You hacked off your finger?
Yeah.
I expect pictures later.
I should have sent you pictures. Tyrone didn't want to see them, so I should have sent them to you. But normally I do that, like, oh yeah, and I noticed I'm doing it like this, so I look like a weirdo. I'm gonna have to do it with this hand. But anyway, otherwise I'm great.
This is
Ready
okay.
to talk some Succession.
This is
Love
what I
it.
do.
Love it. All right, so Succession. Do you guys want to just hop into the end, or do you want to talk about the beginning, where we started? Because
I'm down to slowly cook it, like from the beginning.
Sure. So let's look at where we started out. And this episode started off with the siblings. How did this episode start off? Oh my god, I completely just blanked.
I have something I have to say before we actually get going. So because of what happened to the video last time I was on, I just want it to be said that I love our government and I do not think that our elections are rigged in any way. We have free elections in the United States, and I vote in every one of them, not just the presidential ones. Proud to be an American.
Yes.
Where did it start?
So Kendall scrambles to get the board votes to block the Gojo deal.
It's him walking in and starting yelling at what's his name, Telly.
Stewie.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, because they'd lost Stewie and he was talking to that guy, and then Shiv's like, "Oh, we could get Stewie." So they were like, "Yeah."
I like how they both think they had Ewan too. He's like, "We got Ewan," and then she's like, "We probably got Ewan." Like they're not sure.
And Roman
everyone on her list was on his list as well.
Roman is off in Barbados with mommy because after he went in the streets and got trampled and beat up. And then everyone's trying to win over Roman. And that was an interesting moment because like Kendall is scrambling to get these votes, and like he sort of had his little buddy in Roman helping him out, and now he's on his own. And Shiv is just gone completely rogue, off the rails to me, and like she wants it all, And to me, I know everyone thinks that Kendall kind of flew too close to the sun, but I feel like Shiv did personally. So then we get to the scene where mommy's trying to like play patty cake with everyone, and her husband, what's his face, is there.
Who cares? Who cares?
I want to say it was Peter. He
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. He's got really fancy cheese.
Yes. And Kendall is just at the point he goes, all right, let's cut the shit and let's talk about this. Like you guys are not qualified for this. I am, and like let's make a decision. And before he kind of like they're kind of fighting back and forth, he gets some inside info from Greg.
Ooh.
And Greg, cousin Greg, decides he wants to be part of the quadrant. And let's just talk about up until this point.
I want to talk about James Bond freaking Greg. When like first that scene between Lucas and Tom while they're eating was insane. Where he's like, hey, I might make you the CEO. By the way, I kind of want to bang your wife. How do you feel about that? Oh, you're okay with it. Cool. Well, then maybe you can get the job. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine that
I can't.
job interview? I kind of like your wife, by the way.
Let me tell you right now, Taco, there's no money in the world, brother. There's no money in the world. I would have flipped that man over the table right there, honestly.
Yeah, but he looks like Alexander Skarsgård.
Don't care. I would have looked like Roman walking out, man. But I would have took the fork, got a couple pokes in, man. Like, nah, dude. That was crazy. That was crazy to me.
Yeah, no, that was nuts. And then he's like, guy talk. It's like, I've never had that conversation with my employer before.
Oh, God.
It's like guy talk. And then he goes over and Lucas and his number two, I always forget his name, dude with the beard. They're having their incognito talk in Swedish. And then he Google translates. I was like, this dude, like, this is smart. Because they don't know that you can understand him, so he could start listening to him.
Right.
Like, that was really smart. But what he does with that info was not Gregian.
Not smart.
I think that it was a move, but I think Greg usually plays a little smarter, and he should have seen what he could have gotten. And also, he didn't tell them Tom. I would have waited. I would have went and talked to Tom and found out who, and then made my move from there. But Greg's usually a better player than that.
I think Greg has always had this like infatuation though with Kendall. He's always wanted to be Team Kendall. Totally. So even when Kendall couldn't provide, like he couldn't even fucking provide him a watch for fuck's sake.
That's what he turned on him because he didn't get a watch. You got to keep Greg happy.
My point exactly, but he's still like Team Kendall. It's like Ken has proven he's not loyal to you in any way, and yet, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right, Jamie Lee, and I think from me, I saw that moment as like Greg just being like, "This is my last hurrah in the Game of Thrones. I don't know if Tom's gonna be able to pull this off."
That's what I think it is. He didn't have faith that Tom could pull it off.
Yeah, exactly, and I think a lot of people didn't think that Tom could pull it off either. I had it in my prediction last week, not to brag, but after our conversation, I was like, you guys are totally right. There's no way that this is going to end with anyone on top because the fan base is so divided as to like, oh, it should be this person, it should be that person. Oh, well, this person did this person did that. And I think what is the most American thing possible is to give someone who's just going to be the lapdog, the puppet, the talking piece. And I'm like, Tom.
Greg.
I
was on the Greg bandwagon, especially since he was sitting so lovey-dovey. But if you go back to the funeral episode, you see Lucas. It's so subtle because they don't bring attention to it. But Shiv's talking to somebody else. I think it's Shiv and Greg, but she says like, oh, he's not going to come here because he's still working. And Lucas is like, huh. Like he kind of, you see his eyes kind of move. And I saw somebody catch that. I was like, you're seeing stuff. But no, he wasn't. That was totally him going, dude lives or dies for his work. And that's what you need in your CEO.
Yes, and to me, that was the signal for myself as well. I didn't see that little eye thing, but I was like, that's kind of crazy that Tom isn't here. And to me, that was, but the way I was looking at it is, I was like, okay, Tom is done with Shiv. Like, because like if your wife's father dies, you're there. You know what I mean? Like you're fighting, whatever, you're there just to even show face. But Tom was thinking, oh, someone's got to man the ship. Someone's got to like be there during election night too. He was huge. He was huge. He was like honestly, that was the first time we saw Tom. Like, you guys cannot be down here. Go, get out the way. And as I was like seeing that in real time, I was like, that's kind of a different position of Tom. I think that Logan would be proud. You know what I mean? And I to your Greg point, I know it's probably sounds silly to say. I genuinely do believe if Logan was alive and we had one more season, he would have groomed Greg. I really genuinely been a great season. I genuinely believe it.
If you look at the trajectory of the seasons, and I thought about this after season 2. In the first season, it's Kendall. Second season, he goes, it's you, Shiv, and it's a Shiv season. Third season, it's Roman's until he sends too many D picks out, right? And then we knew it was going to be a Tom season going in because of the whole Godfather moment where, we could see that Tom's on his side. So I thought, this is a Tom season. And then he very quickly kind of gets pulled out. And I should have thought, well, that's even a better reason because now they're kind of hiding that it's going to be Tom. And it definitely was a Tom season. And also to your point, he did have kind of a backbone of keeping them out of the room until the end. It starts off at the beginning of that episode saying, hey, I make the call. And at the end, he goes, it's your guys' call. So I think that he's a perfect lapdog and in a really good CEO choice. Are we going to jump right into what are we doing?
No. This is we're just switching images every once in a while, making it a little visually interesting. This is a Succession therapy session. I want everyone to let it out. Any grievances you have. I want people.
We pre-grieved, Tyrone.
We pre-grieved.
any grievances you got, anything you want to think things differently, anything you wish was slightly, or just anything you loved, like just let it all out.
Speaking of grieving.
Yes.
We didn't get to talk about the last episode. I don't think I wasn't here for it. But
go ahead.
I loved Tom breaking down that he is actually still grieving in his own way because he got to see Logan die in front of him.
Right.
So like that whole, you guys need to be here for closure. I can't. Like I did it. I saw him already. And I kind of liked that moment as in also of how that kind of Lucas doesn't know that is the reason, but he does still look like he's dived into work. The choice surprised me, but
there was
should have been Greg.
I mean, it for me personally, and then I want to hear you, Jamie Lee, get into this. Is I was very satisfied with how it ended. I thought this was how it should have ended. I don't think that. Any fan theories, fan fiction, like this to me was the ending. And it felt like, if anyone's ever done any creative writing or storytelling, whatever, like when you write that ending, you could tell when a creator like genuinely like already had the ending in place. And this was sort of one of those things to me. It felt like, no, this was always going to be the ending. And I was happy for that too. But there was definitely moments where I felt like the character growth or development sort of like was a little iffy. Like I felt there was definitely moments throughout the series that they could have had Kendall make that jump or growth, but they chose not to. But I think, at the end of the day, this is a drama. You want drama, you want stakes, you want interesting sort of things. And also you want that egotism, that narcissism from the characters, right? I felt that there was definitely moments too. Like one thing that a shameless little plug on my TikTok. I was ranting about Shiv being a girl boss. That she is not, by the way. Is that Shiv? Everyone's talking about how Shiv is so strong and powerful. She screwed herself multiple times because to me the pivotal moment where I was like, oh, Shiv is not going to be the CEO is when the brothers all came together. They were like, let's be a trio. Let's do our own thing. To me, there was some acceptance, and I'm curious what you all think. There was some acceptance amongst the brothers of like, even if we don't reach Dad's peak or levels, we're going to do it our own way. And by Siobhan going off doing her own thing, and Siobhan being sneaky and taking other deals, and trying to be the face of ATN, and all, it's just, to me, that was the crumbling of the siblings. I don't know what you all thought about that.
I think it happened well before that. I lost any respect for her well before that when Logan offered her the position and said, go here for a year, do this for a year. And he had a plan laid out for her. Take the plan. If you want to show daddy you're fucking serious about this, take the plan. Yeah.
Totally.
Do what you're told, do the hard work, but she didn't want to put in the hard work. She wanted it handed to her on a silver platter because she was a woman, and that's the bottom line of it. And when she didn't get it,
woman and the youngest. She's the baby of the family, and that's you're 100% right, Jamie Lee.
So I lost all respect for her then, and then with the sexual assault thing, 100% lost any respect because she was. You don't do that to people. Yeah, that was
nasty.
Yeah, that was pretty gross.
And then we get to the whole, how she spoke to Tom, and I don't agree with any of that. And then her brothers. So I feel like I could just have a whole show of me talking about how much I don't like Shiv. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of comments that are going to be like, you don't support.
You know
women.
what? No, it's not about that, because we have on this channel stated multiple times they are all bad humans.
I was just going to say, I hate them all. I think they're all garbage humans.
Yeah,
and you know what the best thing about that episode is? It showed that everybody, not just the kids, not just the siblings, everybody. Carolina went up and said, I think we should get rid of Hugo. Like, everybody is shitting on everybody. It's just so corrupt, and everybody is just so backstabbing in this world.
You know what I said? As I said, it's a dog-eat-dog world. And Shiv doesn't got that dog in her. She's got a devil. She's got a demon in her because she is evil. Shiv is evil, capital E. Speaking of Hugo, oh my God, we didn't get to talk about it. I lost my mind when Kendall goes, "Hey, you gotta be my lap dog." He goes, "Woof woof." I lost that. That was so funny, and
he's such a goofy dude.
It's even funnier because I don't know if you guys saw this behind the scenes, but he's like, I can't remember any lines. So he's like, I write my lines on cups. I write my lines on like people's shirts and stuff. Like
woof woof.
Yeah, hilarious. I love that guy. Honestly, that actor is just.
He killed it. This whole cast absolutely killed it. Even Ewan Cromwell, James Cromwell did so good. There's so much of this cast, and I feel like every episode has somebody who another performance. I mean, freaking Kieran Culkin had two. He had the one on the mountaintop, and then the eulogy that I broke down.
My father.
Just give these guys all the freaking Emmys or whatever.
All the awards.
They're so good. I wanted to just throw out my Minnesota pride because I was born in Minnesota. I'm glad that the Minnesotan who worked his way up through the factory won over all the rich kids. Screw that, nepo babies. That's I'm glad that the small St. Paul, which is in a small town at all, small St. Paul lawyer worked his way up, and
listen,
and his mom's his lawyer. I love Tom.
I thought
He's
Tom,
such a snake, though.
I of all of the bads, Tom to me wasn't as bad, and Tom to me is almost he's bad because it's a product of all of the horrible people around him. Like Tom has plenty of sweet moments, heartfelt moments where he tries to be there for Shiv, moments where he tries to be there for Logan. He tries to kind of be the brother-in-law at times, and they just kind of go, "Oh yeah, screw you," and he just had no respect. And to me, to just keep pummeling and beating this man over and over, for Tom to be the one at the end, I was like, good for you, Tom. And Tom did get ugly and nasty, but you know what? Tom was, I would say 95% of the time, he was not the one instigating or starting it,
I mean, you can't make a Tom live without breaking some Gregs. So,
But Greg too. Greg did need a little bit of whipping because Greg was kind of he was like that Gen Z kid going in there thinking like, hey, I'm about to be, the CEO and next thing. And it's like, Greg, buddy.
He also backstabbed his way up really quickly. Like Greg's hands are not clean. No, none of their hands are clean. And especially Tom. I mean, they're all pretty bad. Yeah. Cruises. Holy crap. But I do think that I do, because I'm such an anti-capitalist guy, that there isn't a lot of a lot of love.
Easy.
I know. Oh, sorry. I love the government though. But there's not a lot of love for the his whole I'm going to do anything for money. I like money and I want to be up. Like, hey, you want to run away in a trailer? I bet not. Like, of course I'm going to backstab to get up. And he did it. But they're all, like I said, all of their hands are dirty. Every one of theirs. Like, there isn't a character on the show that, like that can have a clean conscience. That can go
totally. I mean, from episode 1, Jamie Lee and I talk about it all the time, is like when Roman doesn't give that poor kid that check. I
lost Rome there. I have never.
To me, I was like, I will love Rome, the villain, from this moment on. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that was such a hard, disgusting moment. And like, but what I will say is one moment I did really like in this series finale is when, and Connor. We didn't talk about Connor, which is so telling, right?
Wait, who's Connor?
He was in it.
It's so telling, but like, I love Connor. I love him, and I really do. We get to talk the funeral episode? I don't think we did, right?
We never talked to funeral.
Okay, so I genuinely think like I miss the days we get the bonus feature as deleted scenes. I would have loved them to write something for Connor to get that speech out there. Yeah, because
the other half is the presidential speech. Like it's like half of this is a campaign speech,
right? Yeah, but like I really loved how Connor takes ownership over like the Logan's home, and like you can just tell he really did love his father, and he really does love his siblings, even though he's a knucklehead. But that moment where we get to see them eating like dinner and stuff, that was such a nice, beautiful, full circle moment.
Oh my God, I almost forgot about that. Like there's so much hell later on after that.
Yeah, because it's such a nice, beautiful moment, because that's the final moment that they will probably ever spend together and just reminisce and be like, damn, our dad, and like we're siblings. And what was cool is, if you remember in the first season, and I believe the second, those dinners were a very big part of it. It was like part of the like, ceremony and everything, and the singing, the song, it was just man.
And everyone's smiling. Like Logan holding Carrie's hand and he's smiling. I'm like, holy crap.
It was
that was a lot.
It was such a nice moment in a show full of a lot of
the second act, which we never we're kind of working our way, but I'm going to just say the first act was a lot of toxic, right? A lot of trying to get Rome and a lot of that. And pretty much starting with the right after Greg tells, and then he tries to flip shift. From that all the way up to the board meeting is some of the happiest the show ever was. Like there was a lot of happiness, which felt so weird. I was like, somebody's going to die. Like after like the second scene, after they were like anointing him with that horrible smoothie, I was like, they're all gonna die or something. Like this isn't gonna end well. They're making us smile too much. Like something messed up's gonna.
And hold on, message to Jeremy Strong, sir. I understand method acting, but to drink Shiv's spit and IRL, brother, you are sick and you need to get help.
I don't think it's any worse than what Tom drank. So, I mean, I think it'll be fine.
He drank it and then
he really drank it. I mean,
they said that he really drank it and then he wrenched outside and then washed off in the ocean in between takes. And they did it like 3 or 4 times.
He's a crazy person. person.
Holy crap.
But okay, so from there, the siblings have sort of decided they're going to team up. I love how Madsen like sort of like wakes up everyone in that moment. He's like, go, come on, you
get on your phone.
And he goes, Emma, where are you, Emma?
Oh, that's great. I also like him going all Logan out of nowhere. Like he just like, oh wait, we gotta go into attack mode. And he's just a huge man too. Holy crap, Alexander.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some in between, but I just want to jump the gun. When you get to the board meeting, and it's like wow, we kind of got the votes here. It seems like things are smooth. I like this. It was sort of like us like HBO nerds like Avengers Endgame moment. You got everyone in the room who was originally there.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wow, there's Stewie, and like, oh, there's so and so, and the vote goes off, and you're like, I think they all had compelling reasons. I was it Frank who was counting the vote? And Frank was opposed. He was like, no, let's sell this, right? Or no, he was for. He said, let's sell.
Yep.
And that was like that was pretty telling to me, because I felt like Frank, even though he's not in the family, is like part of the family. And I feel like
I thought he was on Kendall's side. I must have missed something.
Yeah. And so that was like, to me, that was pretty telling. I was like, this ain't gonna go well. And so they go around and it's 6-6. Even Roman sort of like, bites the bullet and say, hey, Kendall won. I'm not happy about it. I don't want to say it, but he won. And then Shiv I can't give it to him. I can't. Oh, that to me, before we get to what happens after, what were you feeling in that moment? What were you feeling, Jamie Lee? Or Taco, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, right before the board meeting was the first holy shit, which was the hug. And that was one of the hardest things to watch because his wound was looking great, and they were like, no, I need to look a little more beat up. So he's like, oh, come here. And then when you see that he's holding him and you see the pain in freaking Roman's face, I was like, oh no. Oh, and then he opens up his stitches on his shoulder. I was like,
that happened so fast for me. That happened so fast that I was like, I didn't even see it until after when I went back to watch it. And you're right. And it's this weird moment of like, because Roman is a masochist, he likes the pain. And so he's like legitimately like comforting him in the moment while also like there's pain. And it's also sort of like, it's like Kendall,
brutal to me.
Kendall is getting rid of the pain of like, you're not going to be CEO, so just let it go. But at the same time, there is the pain of like, I do want it for some reason, and that was a tough moment.
I started screaming. I was watching in a friend's house and I started going like, oh my god, like that, like he's opening his stitches up with his shoulder, like with this coarse suit jacket, like, get in there, like
that was nasty.
All right, now Jamie Lee can talk, and I promise I'll shut up.
No, good, yeah.
I think that moment reminded me a lot of Logan. Like, as much as Rome loved his dad, but his dad caused him pain, but he still kept going back for that pain. He still wanted that pain. And Kendall was doing that exact same thing in that moment. I don't think that Logan would have ripped his stitches out, but he would have given him something like completely blunt and said something really hurtful to Roman in that time. And I think Ken was doing that in a physical way. A lot of things like Logan in a physical way, like when he sat in Logan's seat, he sort of looked at them like, can I sit here? Like, we good? And then he just like puts his feet on the table like as if he's a fucking king. And that right there, I think, was the moment where Shiv's like, you are dad. Like, you are becoming dad. And I do think she is a sore loser and she couldn't let him win, but I can see why she wouldn't, because
totally
it's this cycle all over again. So I'm really glad that she broke the cycle and that she was the one to do that, because Roman can't. We all know that he's too emotional to make like big decisions, but I'm not talking nicely about Shiv at all, because I don't think there's nice things about her, but what she did for the greater good, I think was the right decision.
Pause. Shiv did not do that in my head for the greater good. Shiv did that for Shiv. I do think, though, by her doing it, the byproduct in the long term, you're right,
is the greater good.
Yes, correct.
Yes, I do think that she thinks that Kendall is crazy. Like, I do think that what she said of like, because you shouldn't do it. I don't agree with her that Kendall would be bad at it. I think he would be good at it, and that's what makes him a horrible person. But I do agree that she thinks he'd be bad at it. But I don't think she thinks anyone would be good at it, because she wants a freaking job. Her mind's all clouded.
Yeah, but, I mean, like my like quick sort of like why they aren't qualified. To me, Shiv is not qualified for so many reasons. Number one is like she has no experience. She's a nepo baby.
She's not a good game player.
She is a horrible game player. She was getting screwed the entire time and thought that like in the end somehow she should still be CEO. It's like, you've lost the game 3 times. What are you doing? Roman has like clearly cannot make these like decisions because he's so emotional. I thought Kendall, he was the CEO when Logan was alive. He was the interim CEO after, and he has the experience. He walked away. He was the only one who really went up against dad one-on-one. He's got the connection. He's went to business school. He's been trained like a mule since he was 7. I think he was definitely the most qualified. Now that's where it ends for me, because I think he was qualified, but I don't think he was capable of necessarily taking Waystar to the next level. And I don't necessarily also think it's his fault either. I think it's a product of the environment that the world was changing. And let's just call it what it is. It's Fox News. Fox News is sort of an old sort of lion, and like in an ever evolving world that's changing with social media and all this stuff. They don't really do a lot of that. And I think Kendall even mentioned that, right? He's like, look, Madison wants to come in here and make this TikTok, right? And make this, this fun, like young thing. And he doesn't understand the product. And I think Shiv also thought the same thing. Oh, let me be CEO and I'm the new face and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but your audience doesn't respect women. So,
well, probably not.
And so to me, all three of them were sort of disqualified or not qualified, and for different reasons. But I thought Kendall was the most appropriate choice. Now, my reaction to when Shiv decides to walk away, I'm thinking the same thing you guys are thinking. But I just, in that moment, I thought this is a level of like cowardice that Shiv has kind of shown throughout the series, but she hasn't necessarily shown it so obviously. But throughout the series, she has a lot of these moments where she sort of is a coward or is hiding behind people or is like, I mean, her name's Shiv, right? So she's like she's trying to play all these different cards, but playing them very poorly. So that was my reaction.
All right.
Yeah, I think Shiv doesn't like to fail. And in that final moment there, she couldn't let Kendall win because it would mean that she failed again. And that's what it comes down to. She couldn't let somebody else, one of the boys specifically, she couldn't let them beat her. So fuck it, let's all lose.
Yeah.
I don't think I've decided how I feel about why she got up. Like, it's just so complex and there's just so many reasons. Like all the ones you guys just said, especially what Jamie Lee just said of like, well, I get to win. But I'm not really sure why she couldn't do it. And I think a lot of it is she wanted to be the winner. And maybe some of it is what she said of because Kendall's the wrong choice. But I don't know. All these characters are just so broken and so complex that like it's at this point in the series, it's almost impossible to read them. Like I'm struggling to read them now because they're just so ripped apart and so crazy now.
Taco, you're 100% right there. I guess I came to my conclusion when if we want to progress what happens in the story, when she says you can't be CEO, you killed someone. To me,
I stood up.
Do you remember when I said to you guys, do you think that Kendall's accident's going to come back? And he's like,
it's thematically done. What you don't understand, Jamie Lee. Yeah, we're
right. I told you so. This is my I told you so moment.
So yes, you're 100% right. You were there, right? What was
that? Just one more time, please.
I sent my I'm sorry in the mail. You'll get it.
I'm gonna say you were right, but I thought we were talking more about like him getting in trouble in society. I didn't even think that the siblings would pull it on him because they seemed like they were so fine with it. And so to me, that's where I kind of gave up again on Shiv of like, okay, but you had no problem with it before, and it kind of felt like a cop-out, like, oh, you killed someone. It's like that wasn't a problem before. That was, and it just kind of feels like she's sort of like
both of you guys would have swam away. Don't tell me that Roman and Shiv would have cared in that situation. They're both horrible people.
Okay, let me just defend, and I know what you're going to say, Tyrone, that I always defend the bad guys, and I get that. But let me just do this once for Roman. One time, I promise.
Please do. No, yeah.
Roman was the only person that had the balls to stand there and sign next to Mattson. Have his photograph taken with the enemy. He was the only person ballsy enough to do that. Mm-hmm. And you can sit there and talk all this shit about, oh, I deserve to be CEO. I deserve to be this. Roman was always one that was human. He was always one that could just take shit, but still like just accept it. And his speech at the end, when nothing, like he accepts it. He's got full self-awareness. And that's one thing that I loved. So
it's such a shame, Jamie Lee, too, because it's like, he basically is like, I think Pops did really want him. I think Pops saw something in him. Pops being Logan.
I don't think Pops wanted anybody.
No, he did. No, I don't think he did either. But I think like towards the end, I wouldn't have been shocked if like he was like, let me try to work Roman here, or let Roman be my puppet, right? But Oh, I lost my train of thought there. Fuck.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry, Roman being bad. Roman signing, Roman having balls.
Yeah, he did have balls, but it's kind of sad that he basically lost the CEO position because he cried at his father's funeral, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, it's like
who does that?
Yeah.
When they was having that conversation at Caroline's at the mum's house, and he was like, "Yeah, well, you were upset," and he's like, "Yeah, I cared. Like, didn't you guys care?" That moment was, it was so sad.
You know what crazy realization about Caroline, their mom, right? That's her name. Mm-hmm. What's her name? Is that her name?
Yeah, mommy, just mommy.
I think it was.
Mom. Oh, whatever it is. I was thinking Caroline's the other character. Oh my god.
I'll look
Is it Carolina? Anyway,
no, Carolina's the other character. It must be Caroline. But either way,
I'm right again. Was that sorry?
Yeah, cool.
Sorry, guys.
How crazy is it that the mom was like the only one who wasn't horrible this episode? Like, she wasn't actually the worst, was she?
I'm sorry, but why was she not the worst? Because she.
What did she do this episode?
She wanted her man to have
right. Yeah, but that was like okay, whatever. We ignored it and moved away. She didn't do something like
no, but she
like she normally is.
Yeah, but she was sort of manipulating Roman a little bit.
She was manipulating him. Of
like,
course she was.
A little bit. No,
right.
It wasn't the worst. It wasn't
for her standards. That's all like child's play. Like she called her own daughter the onion because she always makes her cry. Like
right.
There's a lot of horror. She tells her own child that I should have never been a mother. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's some of the worst stuff. Flashbacks.
Yeah, she was pretty awful. I thought, so to bring it full circle and wrap it up, I thought that moment, though, with Shiv, like, her walking out, that was the moment for me is when she said that to Kendall. It just felt like a cop-out. It didn't feel like a legitimate reason. And I was just like, okay, this is a woman who's lost. She sees that she's lost. She doesn't want her brothers to win. She doesn't want Kendall to win. She knows, like, I think she also sort of had this realization, like, when Mattson screwed her over, like, oh, my God, I'm just getting played by everyone. And, like, I can't win either way. And so... And this is my theory. I know it may be far-stretched. It's a theory that we'll never get in the end, but I think by her putting Tom there, she thinks I can sort of still it gives her like a 0.5% chance or whatever to be CEO because Mattson wants to sleep. Mattson wants to sleep with her. She knows that. So maybe she can sort of sleep her way to that position. And she knows Tom will basically do whatever. Tom is sort of like, I don't care about you at this point, but this is no man on this planet. Well, not true. Actually, let me take that back. Most men on this planet, if you have a child with someone, it changes things. I think, and if you're a sensitive man like Tom, I think it would change things. I think he would sort of start to warm up. I think he might open up to Shiv a little bit. And then that's when she starts to dig her nails into him. And that's just my theory.
I also think that Tom would be a good dad. I'm not going to say that about any character on the show. Like, none of them. But I think Tom's a good dog dad. Like, he was the only one who took care of their dog. 100%. Like, the whole season 3, he's like, Montel's not feeling good. Like, he just kept talking about his dog. Mm-hmm. Like, he actually cares. I think Shiv doesn't have that. But seeing that everybody else doesn't.
Is in that last episode, or not last episode, the tailgate party. Oh no, it was the funeral one, and she drank. She drank beer. I don't know what it was. Some type of alcohol. She drank right in front of Tom to spite him, to show I'm in control. I don't care about this kid. I've got complete control of my body and this kid, and that was so fucking spiteful. That made me mad. But I'm the opposite to you, Tyrone. I think that in this episode we saw Tom's attitude sort of flip, and he knows he won. He knows he's in control now, and Shiv has to submit to him. And you can see that by when he put his hand out. I think it will. I think Shiv knows she's fucked. She's going
to end up killing him in his sleep or something. Like, she's not going to give up. She's going to be like Godfather or Goodfellas. He's going to wake up and she's going to be on top of him with a gun in his face.
So Jamie Lynn,
I think her losing was her breaking point. She realized, oh fuck.
I hope. Again, I wish. I want to believe that.
Jamie Lee, you're right, because at the end that handhold wasn't a handhold. It was like it was sort of like, I'll bring you along with me, sort of how she's done with him.
He even said, "There's a car for us in 5. Like, come with me if you want to survive."
100%.
Great.
It's sort of like Greg, but wait one sec, Taco. But all I was gonna say was long term. I'm thinking long term. Tom is the type of dude who he doesn't have that dog. I'm sorry. He's not the guy to be the CEO and be like, oh, I missed my kid's first birthday. I just don't see that in Tom. I just genuinely don't see that. Maybe you guys feel differently, and that's totally fine because we'll never know, right? But
that's the thing. We'll never know long term because like Tom could not be there next week. You know what I mean? Like Nancy could be like, bye.
That and they are fictional characters and the show's now over.
Yes.
So that's another.
No use predicting what could happen.
Can we talk about the other horrible things said in that room?
Oh yeah, that tipped me.
Wow.
Roman.
That was just like
this is wait, Taco, real quick. I think this is my let it out moment. Okay, this is full therapy session because wow. Go ahead, Taco.
That was rough. And I think a lot of it was to twist a knife and hurt Kendall. But yeah, that just saying, well, if you think that he cared about firstborn, well, then he cares about bloodline, and and he's like, what are you saying? It's like, well, one of them's adopted, and I didn't even, and then he said the other horrible thing about his son,
right?
And it was like, dude, he's already attacked you once, and when Kendall goes after him, I was like, yeah, I saw that coming. Please puncture me. And I want to talk again about the physical violence Kendall towards Rome, because there's something really powerful there. Because every time Logan has smacked or did something physical towards Rome, Kendall jumps and goes, no, you can't do that. Don't you touch him. And now he's like, oh, I'm CEO now. What's up, huh? What are you going to do about it?
Again, that's what I was saying about how Shiv could see that he was becoming... Oh, shit, sorry.
Yeah, no. I'm agreeing with you that he flipped and went full monster. And especially with him going, oh, it was a ploy. I didn't really kill that kid. Like, he gave away all of his humanity, and he was going to just say anything he could. Sorry, go ahead, Tyrone.
Can I ask you just yes or no questions?
Yeah.
And not to get too personal, I don't know if you guys have siblings or not. But when he said that, your sibling says that to you, are you not going to sort of react similarly where you're like, I'm going to fucking kill you or like go after you? Like, because maybe not.
That's not a yes or no question.
That's quite complicated.
That's a question. I have a brother and a sister, and I love them like siblings. But I'm sorry, but I love my wife just slightly more. And I love my daughter, 100%. Equal to maybe a little more. I'm kidding. But I chose my family, my wife, and my daughter to live with. I was born with my brother and my sister, and I have a really deep connection. But I would know if I ever walked up to my sister and goes, "Oh, I hate your husband. You should divorce him because I don't like him." I'm in the wrong. Like siblings can't do that. And if my brother or my sister talked crap about my kids, I would be like, you want to go? I mean, we're done. Yeah, we're done. I'm never talking to you again. I would cut you out of my life.
100%. To talk about a spouse is one thing.
I love my siblings.
And like that would the spouse thing would tick me up, but to go the child route, I don't even have kids. And like I was fuming. The whole time I was thinking about you two, just like I'm like, oh, I gotta hear what you guys think about this scene because like that was so nasty to me, man. That was awful.
Cut you out. Jamie, would you cut him out too? Do you agree with
what I personally believe that the only person in this world that my brother loves is my daughter. I don't think he's capable of loving anybody but my daughter, if I'm being honest. He would never attack my child. He's attacked my husband before, both physically and mentally. But anyway,
wow.
Anyway, I love my brother.
Therapy thing again.
Oh shit. There we go. I almost cancelled out. That's how. Anyway, sorry guys, brother talk, bye. No, I mean, I would have attacked him, but my brother would know. I don't know. It's not a yes or no question, Like my brother would know that he could come to me and be honest with me, and I would be honest with him. We don't have this manipulation thing. Like, we fight like brothers and sisters, but it's not this dysfunctional as this family is. And it seems like every time any one of them has any chance at a little win, the other one's like, nah, fuck you, and stabs them. And I don't think that's anyone's family.
It all ties back to that emotional.
There's definitely families like that.
Well,
definitely families.
I don't want to
get mine though. My brother.
I don't want to get too much into. I don't want to get too much into my family, but
yeah.
But there was definitely some emotional stuff that me and my siblings grew up in, and it wasn't a great environment. I always like to just say I didn't have a great childhood, and I don't want to get into that here, but I see a lot of the same victims of emotional abuse thing with them is not being able to handle emotions, not believing in love, really seeing people as objects because that's the way you were treated, and that's how they were treated. Love is a card to them.
Right.
And it 100% is. I mean, freaking Rome literally tried to play that card once. He goes, "What about love?" Like, he's like, "Get that off the table." And so love isn't a real thing, and they don't treat their families like they don't treat their kids or their husbands or their wives. Like, how many girls does Rome move through and he doesn't care about them? He throws them out after the first argument. Love isn't a thing. And sadly, that's even familiar love. And that is tragic. But they don't love each other in the way that I think people who haven't been taught and abused in the way that they have, because they are victims. As much as I hate them, they are victims of abuse. And 100%. That's why they act that way. And it's not their fault. It's Logan's fault. And it's not Logan's fault, right? The poison trickles down. It's the guy who beat Logan, you know, 100%. Like his horrible uncle. So his horrible uncle, abuse, and it just keeps going and going. And I understand. It doesn't
now because the cycle has been broken. And that's the best part of the whole ending, I believe.
Hopefully,
anyway.
But these people are still alive. They're still alive and they still have kids. Well, and even if you take the CEO out of them, Kendall's not going to be a good person tomorrow. You know, like Shiv's not going to be a good person tomorrow.
We don't know that.
I think so, that. I don't know that.
Well, first off, thank you guys for both sharing that. I mean, it was very personal. I didn't have to do that. But for me, I grew up in a situation where my environment was very difficult and tough. And my family, we grew up on like free food at school and shit like that. Like we just had like my family was very much like, you know, dad works blue collar kind of thing, and mom tries to go to school and say like so and so even though my like siblings and I fought, we sort of had this appreciation, understanding of like all you have is each other. Despite that, and I think that, you know, for me and my siblings, you know, talk to your spouse or whoever about me or whoever, like talk your shit in behind closed doors. But when it comes to like face to face, or honestly, even someone says something about my siblings, you know, I feel like I got to go to like the mat for them. You know what I'm saying? And so to see these people who are so opposite, right? It kind of like just tells me like their trauma, like you guys both said, is so deeply ingrained that they can't be happy for each other because all they know is like we have to win father's affection and we want to be number one, and being number one is the only thing. And it is really a metaphor for America and capitalism and stuff of like, you don't have value unless you're number one. And I think about that because where I went to school growing up, like there was a lot of similarities of that, where it's like very elitist, very like, you know, oh, you're not taking advanced classes, you're not as smart. It's like, oh, well, I'm taking honors classes. Sorry, you know, and like there's this mentality amongst the wealthy and rich of like, oh, if you're not the best, if you're not the best school, if you're not on the best sports team, you have no value. And so it's systematic with them, but it's also at home. So like I kind of thought at the end there, like that's why I thought Shiv's decision was selfish. I didn't think it really had anything to do.
I just want to step in there though, and I want to ask, you're saying like you would go to bat for your sibling, right? And I believe I would too. But when push comes to shove, if my brother did the wrong thing, I can't see past black and white. There's no.
And that's my point. Yeah.
So would you have done what Shiv did? Would you have backed out or would you have let Ken win?
No, I think I would have let Ken win, honestly, because like to me.
Well, also, they agreed on it the day before. Like they literally sat and said, "You got this." Right. Then you should have left and never made him drink your spit, you psycho. Like then you should have been in that room. Like if Shiv wasn't going to go through with it, she shouldn't have done what she did. None of that.
And that's how the pressure built up to her. She saw him sitting in Dad's chair. She saw him being abusive like
Dad's chair. You're right on that being a huge trigger.
Like it was the same cycle that she could see coming again.
And that's why I say I understand what she did, but I think again, because you asked about me personally, if
Yeah.
I was in that situation where like, damn, me and my siblings all wanted this thing, like Taco said, if we had that convo on the beach, it's done there. I lost there. Like I think I would have made arguments for myself. I would have put myself out there. But if my siblings 2-1 against me, I'm like, I've done that. Like in smaller instances, we're like, oh, you guys want to go to Six Flags or Canopy Lake? And I'm like, yo, guys, we go to Canopy Lake all the time. This place sucks. Like, why are we going here? Let's try Six Flags. It's new. And they're like, oh, but we love the water ride. I'm like, fucking sakes. But like, I'm not gonna be the one like, oh, I'm staying home. Forget it, And like to like a more grounded reason. Like that's my point. Is like you. That's why I'm like, she's a sore loser, and I get why she's a sore loser, but she's a sore loser.
All right, I'm gonna agree. I don't think with anybody here, but everything you just said was true, and you're a reasonable human who has emotions, and you're not all messed up, and I'm now defending Shiv, and of course she's not making a rational decision. Like she's not rational. She is messed up, and she might have agreed then. And when she's in there, she's like, "Whoa, wait, I can't let whatever it is. Either I can't let him win, or I can't do that to the company / the world." Mm-hmm. I have 2 things I want to talk about, and I know you guys are going to love one of them.
Let's hear it.
But I would hate myself if I didn't bring both of these up. And now I'm forgetting what one of them was. I had it. Oh,
you were
my
defending
God.
Shiv. You were defending.
No, yeah, screw Shiv. I'm not defending Shiv.
Roman.
First one was going to be water.
Okay. Oh yeah, water. Huge. Yep.
Yeah, because water is huge for Kendall. Water is a very, very big thing. It was, of course, where the caterer died in season 1, and then he's in the bath at the beginning of season 2. Like when he's when he's getting cleaned up and wherever retreat he's at. And then, of course, when he celebrates, he goes into the water. And then they went out to the water as they discussed whether or not they should annoy him. And then it ends with him looking the beach. Who thought he was going to kill himself?
Me.
At the end?
Yeah.
There was like 2 minutes left, and I thought, wow, they're going to neck Kendall. Like 100%
he's going to jump in.
Out. Yeah.
Apparently, Jeremy Strong filmed him going over without telling them. He went over the barrier and stood there, and no one knew it was rolling. And the director just like let it happen. And method acting too, the guy who played his security guard ran over and grabbed him.
Interesting.
It's like, no, you gotta get down. They didn't keep. I do like how it ended with him just looking at it. But the reason why he's not gonna.
The reason why I didn't is really because of what Jamie Lee said, which is that like I kind of came to this conclusion. I know I don't want to beat on Shiv too much because like it just is what it is. But like I think that Shiv couldn't come to the conclusion that it was over. Roman did. And I think Kendall also came to the conclusion. Like he had his spat, he screamed, he yelled, he got it all out. And I think he sort of came to this conclusion where he was sitting there. And like I thought the way that they did the water was different, where we were hearing it. We were hearing it rather than seeing it. And and water, when you hear it, can be sort of soothing. It can be sort of like a different sort of experience. And I was sort of interpreting it as like he's sitting there reflecting, like, you know what? Does any of this really matter? Look at me right now. I'm on my own. I can't even see my own kids. The whole world is screwed up. My kids don't think this. I found out this is what my brothers think of my kid. Shiv, who, is the little girl or the daughter, just nothing, And I think he was just feeling like, does the company even matter? Does any of this really matter? And I think like some people have this moment where they do want to jump over the edge because like nothing matters. But I think because I do think Kendall is a stronger character than like we are sort of talking about him. I think he had this sort of reflection of like, you know what? It's done. It's over with. But you got to remember, Kendall is a tech bro. He's like Elon Musk. He's like the rest of these guys, Steve Jobs. They all think, you know what? Burn it. Let it go. I'm going to create Rome again. And I think that's probably really, it's going to take him a while to get there. But that's where I think Kendall is for me. And we'll never know, as we said. But like, that's where I think Kendall's story ends for me personally.
Yeah, I agree. That moment that when Roman said, you know, we're bullshit, we're nothing, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And that moment there, Ken literally got up from that speech and he's like, I think we can play this angle. I think we can go frank. And Roman was like, dude,
shut up.
you're not getting it.
Yeah.
Like, you need to cut out, get out of this. And that was a good moment, like that relates to what you're talking about there, that
yes, exactly.
you know, he's always going to have a different angle and he's going to want to jump back in. And I think the best thing about the way that it ended is we'll never know what they did after, because
100%.
obviously we can't, and there's no really need to. But I agree that that water like was peaceful at the end, because it's sort of like he's empty, he is nothing. And Rome just told him that, whereas Shiv is always going to have some sort of connection because of Tom still connected to the business in some way, whereas Roman's out and Roman's happy drinking his fucking Jerry martini, you know, by himself, ready to get the next, you know,
it's like they said
mama.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they said, it's like Roman never wanted to be in this position in the first place. He wanted to screw around and drink and have fun. And like this whole series is kind of like a detour for him, like they said, right? They were like, it's like this was like him trying to impress daddy and be a part of the fun, like the Game of Thrones per se, but like he never really wanted it. And like, was there really ever a moment where you thought Roman wanted it? And I always felt like he wanted it for his father's approval. And I think there was moments where I was like, Kendall wants it for his father's approval, but he also wants to like surpass his father. There was moments where Shiv was like, she wants it for daddy's approval, but she also wants to change the culture of what this is, right? Roman never had that moment for me.
He wanted to be his dad, 100%. And he's, we have this thing in the factory I work in that grinds my gears a lot, of whenever I'm like, hey, why did you do that way? And they go, oh, we always did it that way. I don't give a crap. Can you tell me why? Can you tell me why you put your finger on that button and clicked it, besides that you've done it before? And that's what Roman would do. That's 100%. How he would run it. Well, Dad would do it this way. I finally remembered it, but I love the you have these three really powerful people talking about taking over this billion-dollar company and this huge acquisition and these millions of people it would affect. And they're like, but Dad told me first.
Right.
And it's like, what are you guys arguing over a cookie?
I'm the eldest boy.
When I was 7,
anyway.
we were getting ice creams, and he said, after this ice cream, you'll be CEO. And I'm like, I will. Like, shut up, man. Can you imagine if you were arguing with your, like, I'm in my 30s. If I was talking to my brother and I said, but Dad said, I would want to like smack me. Like, that doesn't affect my life in any way now.
Yeah,
I'm a 34-year-old boy.
Yeah, Jamie Lee, say that line again, what you just said before.
Which one?
What did Kendall say? Yeah, I'm the eldest boy. Right?
Oh, yeah, I'm the eldest boy.
Yeah, and it's like, you're not.
You're not.
Connor
is.
Right? And that just sort of screamed to me, like, do you have any idea who my father is? Or like, I'm gonna sue you. And it's just like, it's just like there's such a disconnect. And like that's why I thought, yes, Kendall was qualified to do this, but I don't think he would have done it well. So also just the fact that Shiv would walk out of a meeting this serious and like, I need a minute. It's just like you shouldn't even have a board seat. You know what I'm saying? Like
if you ever were to do that.
Like, to me, that's the next sort of like, that's the epilogue. Like, hey, let's vote Shiv off the board because that was insane. Like,
if you were like one of the peons that work in this company, like I'm a peon who works at my factory, and there's a board of directors, and there's a bunch of directors who I've never met, and I never will met. The directors of operations, the directors of this, the directors of that. I'll never meet those guys. But if I found out that their board meetings were like this, I would be like, guys, what? You're in charge of me? I would be pretty freaking mad. Like, if it's but Dad said, and I'm going to get up, I needed some water.
Honestly, Taco, honestly, dude, as someone who's worked in a couple startups.
They are like that.
And worked with C-level, these guys are making it up as they go. I swear to God. Like, it's like, it's insane how much people are making it up as they go. And like, you sort of realize that like they're all human and they have these things, but like, a lot of them, dude, like that to me that was a different level. Like they're screaming in the other room, and honestly,
with all the glass doors,
yeah, everyone
trying each other.
I absolutely credit to Jeremy Strong, dude, because when he screams and he goes, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like that was so well done. I don't know if you have ever seen like a rich person just pissed and like I'm not getting what I want. Like it is like he just nailed it. I mean, that to me, like I was like that was Jeremy Strong channeling his inner Boston, his inner like daddy or something because like that felt so authentic to me. You know, like.
I do channel my inner daddy every once in a while.
Oh God, taco! I don't want none of that taco meat. Okay,
liar. All right, let's move on.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I don't like that he assaulted Shiv. Let's go there. Let's get our mind away from.
Wait. I'm sorry. Say it again.
When Ken was like pushing Shiv,
and
Roman's like, she's fucking pregnant, dude. I was like, man, I love you, Roman.
How did
I would take you home?
Blank that out. I can't even remember.
He assaulted.
Well, because the last time I watched it,
sitting there hating on Shiv, saying how bad she is.
Yeah.
Like Kendall would literally assault somebody to get what he wants. He would do anything in that moment to get what he wants. He
grabbed Rowan by the face.
That was amazing.
He's gonna rip his eyeballs out. Like, what's he doing?
But boys have that sort of like, boys fight. Boys.
I don't do that. But I haven't physically grappled for like 20 years.
Man.
All right.
The last
15 years.
The last time I even got into any sort of thing close to that is back when I used to drink. I don't drink anymore, and like I was in college. You know what I mean? Like
it's beer right now. I'm not gonna fight somebody.
No, but I mean that is something a lot of people say. Oh, it's just boys, but it's just like but adults, men don't do that. It's like when
I was in my early 20s, I would physically solve my problems, but and even that it was like twice. But it wasn't even that much. And
you're not proud of it, right?
No, of course not. And if I was at work and somebody physically put their hands on me, I'd be like,
"That's crazy."
What are you doing?
Like you're a psycho? Yeah. Like
I make that move, and I would laugh because I'm like, "Cool, I can't punch you back because I'll get fired. But since you just hit me, I'm gonna go get you fired." I'd be like, "All right, see you later."
100%. Like I'm not like There's a great Buddhist quote or that it's like talks about like getting angry or fighting someone in the back. It's like swallowing poison and expecting your enemy to suffer from it. It doesn't make sense. Like you don't win from that. Don't give them that energy. Don't give them that time. Well, and I think the thing with one quick thing, Taco, is the thing with these boys is like it's gotten to the point where it's like all they do is swallow poison. All they know is poison. So it doesn't matter. Like Shiv, honestly, this sounds horrible to say, but like it wouldn't even shock me if Shiv was lying about the pregnancy. It's like that's how like out of control all three of them have gotten. It's just like so yeah. But hey, look,
the doctor calls back and she's like, "So your wart removal?" She's like, "Shh, we're calling it a pregnancy today."
Oh my god! But like, but we're around the hour mark, so I just wanted to ask you guys. What was in this entire series? What was your favorite moment? Do you have a favorite moment or a best moment? There's some, and that's not fair. So you can say a couple. You can just sort of rattle them off. I know my favorite.
I'll answer two.
Yeah,
I'll say like my favorite joke. I'll say the joke I like the most. Can I answer three? Can I go favorite? Can I go favorite scene, favorite episode, and favorite line?
Go ahead.
I'll start small, go big. Can't make a omelet without breaking some Greg's is probably the funniest thing I've heard in the whole show is when he's sitting in front of Congress and they have to read that out and he's like, "Oh well, that I don't think I've ever laughed as hard." There's also a lot of really great one-liners. Buckle up, fucklehead is a really good one. But and then oh God, I'm not gonna. I can't. You told us not to swear that much, and all the funny jokes are all swear words for the show. And then scene, the three siblings coming together at the end of season 3, is probably I cried during that scene. Seeing people who are always been abused away from their own emotions, actually being there for each other when they really need it, was like, oh, like it just twisted in my heart. Yeah. And then season finale of season 2 when they're on the yacht and then Kendall goes to go do the thing. That whole episode. And
wait,
there's
wait. How did season 2 end? Which
that's the one where Kendall drops the press conference where my dad's a horror person.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
But there's so many good scenes in that episode.
Right.
Like when Roman just got back from being a hostage at AK-47 point. And
God, I forgot that happened.
Yeah. And then they're sitting around, and he goes, "When this is all over, are we going to be able to talk about our feelings?"
Yeah.
And then they just make fun of it. We're going to talk about our feelings.
Right. Yeah.
And oh God,
that's actually my favorite shot in the entire series. Is when you see Brian Cox just sort of look out like, I guess Kendall's got that dog in him. Didn't think so.
Oh, that smile. At the end of that.
It's just like it's so subtle.
And then he's all right. One joke from that episode, and then I'm done. And Jamie Lee can talk. I swear. I keep saying that. Greg's getting his feet. I'm pointing at my feet. Greg's getting his feet like cleaned, and he goes, "It's a benign fungus." And then Tom goes, "Great title for your memoirs."
Right. Tom has some of the best lines in the entire series.
Tom and Rome kill it.
Yeah. He's Mr. Darcy. Amazing.
All right.
What about you, Miss Jamie Lee? What do we say? Favorite episode, favorite moment?
Yeah,
favorite line.
We'll go moment, scene, line, moment, episode.
Okay. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to talk about what I like.
Do it.
I'm going to do my own way, bitches.
Yeah, I love it. Go ahead, girl.
I can't.
What was that?
I can. That. Anyway, so I really liked the funeral episode. I think the speeches were fair and beautiful. I think that his brother's speech was kind of like perfect, really. Like he
really
was really
eye-opening.
harsh. Yeah, really harsh, but also showed why Logan was the way that he was. And I really thought that speech was beautiful. And then seeing Roman act like that, I was like, that is the most realist thing that I have ever seen, because I have experienced that. And it was so real. That's how people really react. So of all things that I could relate to in this show, which was not a lot, to be honest with you, I was like, these people are so dysfunctional. Like, how are people like this? That was one moment where I was like, wow.
I'm perfect. I'm not dysfunctional. I'm Barbie.
Crazy. Fuck off. That was so Logan of me. But seriously, that's that sort of like grief and how they deal with grief and the way that it was so real. That's something that I could relate to. And funny stuff, dude. I honestly want to do a whole episode on it, because all of Roman's stuff, we should. You know my sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know I love disgusting sexual references. Yeah. And Roman is like me, but not as nasty. And everything that Roman was said was disgusting. Like,
wait, he's not as nasty as you? Is that what you mean?
I don't even know if I should.
That's the way you said it. You said he's like me, but not as nasty. Like, you're worse.
La. Anyway, one of my favorite ones was where he was going like in and out of Ken's party, and it was like his mom's
the big mom's vagina. Can I take this?
Oh my God. Yeah.
God. That was one of my favorite ones.
When they just reference his Oedipal complex, and then he just goes, well, yeah, look, because he just wants to bang his mom.
And my other favorite one was Panic Room. I think that's what it was called. That episode.
Oh, yeah.
And they went to this, or Safe House, maybe it was called Safe Room.
No, it's
like
Panic Room. Safe Room. Maybe it was Safe Room.
And the moments between Greg and Tom in that, and he's just like, is this room really safe? Like, you can fit a small child in that window.
Oh my God, yeah.
Attack midgets.
Something like that. I was weeing myself. It was so funny. And then the fight between Tom and Greg, like, are you breaking up with me, Greg?
Right.
You belts him with water bottles.
Yeah.
That hurt.
So, anyway, good. It was a good blend of, like, grief, realness, and then like this corporate world that is not like, I can't relate to it all, and then chuck in like the funny comedic things at the right times. Like, they just slotted in so perfectly that I love the show. It was great.
Thank you for sharing, both of you, man. You guys just brought up some great memories that I just forgot about. So many of those, man. I mean, Taco, you pulled a deep cut with the Roman getting like captured. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
And Jamie Lee, you 100% remind me. I'm right there with you. That funeral episode was it hit home for me. It was very powerful. I genuinely think that is one of the greatest episodes of television of all time, and I will die on that hill. Some great moments for me. I will always remember L to the OG, the rap.
L to the OG.
OG. That was just, it's so good. And I love Nicholas Bertel. I got my Moonlight poster there. He did the composition for Moonlight, and Nicholas Bertel. The soundtrack was just so amazing,
dude. That's probably the best thing in the whole show. His music is so insanely good,
so beautiful, so perfect,
so good.
I could go all day about it. I loved the line. Fuck off is just iconic at this point. But I love, I love you people, but you're not serious. That was a really good one. Mm-hmm. When Tom says, Greg, she's got such a ludicrously capacious bag. Like, I mean, just the vocabulary that they would use that's just so over the top, and like just how elitist that they were at sometimes.
I can't believe you just pulled that. I didn't even remember that ludicrously capacious bag.
Yeah. It was so good, but there was just so many moments. Like I said, we should honestly just have an episode where we each bring like 10 like lines that we just love, and we just like laugh and have a good time with it.
There's a lot of fun.
It was just so freaking good, man. And like I just love moments where like Logan would just be like when he sees the dick pics with Roman, he goes, "What the fuck is this? Are you a sicko?" Like it's just like
it's so old school, eh?
Yeah. Those little moments like this. He goes, "Are you a fucking weirdo, huh?" Like, and then Roman just kind of like puts his tail between. He's like, "Daddy."
I use that meme a lot, or the GIF of after Roman sends the pic where he like hides himself in the boardroom. Like, oh, oops, was I not supposed to send that?
There's a really funny one too where he goes, "It's such a deep cut." I just looked it up. He goes, "Why shouldn't we do all the news?" He goes, "Well, Kim Jong
Pop."
Yeah, that's how things work in this country. Oh god.
Well, King Jong Pop.
He just oh man, we could do one for each of them all
when
day.
They're filming their videos to them, and he does this really good when Rome does a really good take, and then they ask him again, he's like, I'm a dick up, but fuck it. Like, weird, like goofy voice.
The guy goes, "Oh, that was perfect." And he goes, "If it was perfect, why do we have to do it again?"
Right.
Or when he's in management training and then they just show his face, but he doesn't have a line, and then it kills when he's like watching the video of them, and he's like, "Hey, what the hell? They cut me."
One last moment I'll mention is because I can't get out here without mentioning cousin Greg. Is when
Judas,
when no one can like stand up to Logan in that room once the siblings are gone, and he's like, "Come on, someone go after me," and he goes, "You're really old, man. You're at like," and he's just like going at him like, and he goes, "Oh yeah. Well, what about your father, huh? Is he out there playing with the fairies and like just like little like things like back and forth? Like he was just like those two. Like I didn't see that from Greg at all.
Where's your kids at, Uncle Logan?
Like, right? Yeah. Like it got deep in there, but and then I just told you guys. I don't know if I said it on stream before, but Hugo had so many little good moments. It when like he's like, "Hugo, you're gonna be my dog. Give me my guy." Woof woof.
Or they're watching the presidential debates or whatever, and Logan's watching it, and the guy's being really boring, and he's like, "Whip it out or something, do something." Like or Frank and Carl have a lot of good ones too. But, with Connor, he's like, Connor was running for president,
right? Yeah. I had a TikTok.
All right, we'll have to do one of those videos. We should end. I gotta go to sleep, guys.
I know. I had a TikTok pop off about Carl and Frank, and like all the little tweens on in TikTok, they now call Carl and Frank Frog and Toad. You know the picture book. Those two, like they're like secretly lovers. There's so, and that's what I found. Like this is my final statement, and everyone can kind of go around and say their last sentence. Is the subculture that was created with Succession. There's like so many people who watch it for different reasons. There's people who just like they love Cousin Greg and they love the thirst trap of that. There's people who just love the comedy. Like my girlfriend and I, after having tough weeks at work and all this sort of thing, like we would just sit down together and watch this and just laugh our asses off. And for me, growing up amongst people who are like this, it's just nice to be like, these people are getting made fun of finally. The middle class and poor people get made fun of all the time, and like just watch these people get dumped on. It was really nice. And especially because like it was before COVID and during COVID we got these. It's like it was just a nice like break away from reality, and I'm gonna miss the hell out of this show. So it was an all-timer for me. What about you all?
Who goes first? You go first.
You
ladies
go
first. Oh, okay, Taco.
No,
Taco
ladies
Tuesday.
first. I'll go first. Yeah. I am rather feminine. I know that, but no, I like to grade TV shows and movies really harshly. And I was just talking to Jamie Lee about this because she asked me how I felt about this episode. I'm like, I don't know, like an 8.5. She's like, you hated it? I'm like, no, I thought that was pretty good.
No, yeah.
And now when you talk about the entire show, though, this episode, I think I need to sit on it. And I normally do. I think it's only going to grow. It's going to get better the more times I watch it. Right. The show on a whole, you can't just look at one aspect of a television show.
Yeah.
The directing, the writing, these freaking performances, the music, the way it was filmed, those cameramen all get freaking best director. Like they have the best cameramen ever.
I gotta cut you off, brother, because that is such an under. Like I'm so glad that you mentioned that, bro, because we see so many people just copy what The Office has done, right?
Yeah,
like that style, the one camera, and
something different though.
And this was beautiful. Yeah,
there's a really amazing YouTube video. It's called The Other Character, or it's like the forgotten character of Succession, and it's the point of view. It's the camera, and they break down how they film the episodes. They'll do a scene as a dry run, and everyone will act the way they're going to act and whatever, and the cameraman will just pick up like, oh, I'll have to look at him then. Oh, maybe I should look over here at this guy's, and they'll literally play it so they put us in that POV, and when it's so smart. And
huge on the funeral.
These cameramen are so huge on the funeral. And so many times when it fades on one guy and does a push on the next person at that perfect time, even though that guy doesn't have a line, we just have to see their facial expression. These crazy, and it's filmed on film. It's not even digital. And all this crazy stuff that they had to do.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they have to hide reels around the room and switch out during takes. Yeah,
I did not know that.
It's filmed on film, dude. And
oh wow.
Yeah,
That's even more insane.
It's completely insane. So, literally the amount of artistry going on here, and then not only that, but you get some of the best performances, the best writing. This is easily my top 5 TV shows of all time. Now that it's done and now that I can add it in, it's very easily right up there with, Sopranos, The Wire, Rick and Morty, right up there in the top. In Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm weird, but
no, you're not.
It's
you're not actually.
It's so freaking good, and as much as I enjoyed this episode, when you actually want to talk about the TV show as a whole, I think is one of the best things that have ever been put on television, like easily.
That was a beautiful love letter, honestly.
That was really lovely. I feel like I should have went first because mine is not going to be as smart as that.
Follow that, yo!
Hey, you guys are geeking out of like how it's filmed and like
no, Jamie Lee.
Details.
This is the Circle Club's motto. Just be you. You got to be yourself.
So Roman's really cute. Okay, bye.
I like the sexual sense of humor. Woo! What a fucking idiot, man.
So do I.
All right, so I'll try and be a little bit sensible.
No, don't be.
No, I'm going to try because I already feel undervalued after that fucking speech. But anyway, so
I'll just fart and giggle next time. That's what I normally do.
Don't worry, I'll finish us off. Don't worry.
No comment. Anyway, so I really liked that this show was. I've never had a show in my life that I've watched and could not relate to somebody in it. I've never had a show in my life that I've watched and I didn't like somebody in it. I've always liked somebody. In this, I didn't like any of them. Sure, I said I like Roman and his sense of humor, but I genuinely didn't want Roman to win. I don't think Roman is a good guy. And I've never watched a show where I didn't like anyone. I've never experienced that before, and it was a good experience. And I like to see how, I said this in my video, that I like to see how the other half live, but not in the sense of like fancy cars and parties and like all that sort of bullshit that you normally see in shows where they talk about the wealthy. Like Dynasty, however you guys pronounce it.
Yeah.
That's a show.
And all those things. And,
yeah, it was more about like how they emotionally deal with things and how they like scheme and backstab and all these like ways in which they do things and manipulate people in order to gain power. And that was something that it was eye-opening to me because I've never seen or experienced that before. So yeah, I liked it for that reason. That I got to see like a different side of people who are at the top, I guess.
No, that I think it certainly opens up a lens. Like, not everyone was fortunate and misfortunate like myself to be surrounded by those types of folks. And like I think there's sort of this like Taco mentioned earlier how he's like, oh well, you know, CEOs, like, you know, not to put words in your mouth, but like, oh, they're really well thought out and all this stuff. But like, honestly, a lot of these people, they are this way. They are very chaotic. They have terrible trauma. They don't really, their whole lives are about just making the board happy, mom or dad happy, right? Or trying to compete with their siblings. And there's these weird,
dad told me to.
Yeah, there's these weird, ugly dynamics. And I think, like you said, Jamie Lee, there are a lot of characters. We love these characters and we hate these characters, and that's what's beautiful. And that's why I thought the ending was so well done. Jamie Lee, my friend. Yeah,
sorry.
Thank you. No, you're good. Thank you for hopping on here with me and introducing me to Taco. This has been a brilliant series. And it's God, like I love talking to this guy Taco. He's amazing. It's been so does. like seriously, Taco's awesome. I think we have great chemistry too. Those three can learn from us. But listen, you got to come back for the White Lotus. Jamie Lee, you don't need to watch season 1, 2.
I'm too far gone.
I love White Lotus.
No,
let's come back for Euphoria. Cheers.
No, you don't need
I'm back for Euphoria too.
If you like, because you mentioned how you like, they're rich. You don't really like people. It's a mystery.
Did I say that though? Did I say that?
Okay, well maybe you didn't, but all right.
You would like White Lotus. I'm telling you that right now. It's
Taco,
really
you and I will talk White Lotus, and then Jamie Lee will want to catch up when it gets to the season finale, and then we just live our lives full circle.
And then I'll cram in the whole 8 episodes in 2 weeks. Yeah. Sure.
I have a thank you since you're throwing out thank yous. I have a thank you to Jamie Lee for binging all of it in 3 freaking days. Yes. By the time season 3 happened, she hasn't watched it yet, or episode 3 happened, she hasn't watched it yet. By the time episode 4 happened, she was with us. Right. It was like that. It was one of those. It was insane. And not only that, but then she invited me on here with You Fine Guy, and it's been fantastic. So
thank you, Taco. It's not every day I get a It's not every day I get a compliment, especially from Jamie Lee. So I appreciate it.
I know. I'm like, you guys are loving it up in here. I feel like so happy. It's nice. I mean, I get it. You guys are great, but yeah.
All right. Well, hey, fam.
Jamie and friends.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for popping in.
Making guys, a lot of assumptions.
That is going to do it for us here. Make sure you check out everyone's socials down below. I'll put it in the description. You can see where to find them. Do you guys have anything going on right now you want to plug real quick? Taco, Jamie Lee, what's going on in your world?
You go first again.
No, I won't go good here. No. So I started doing more of a Song of Ice and Fire lore videos. So my Septa Maribald came out this week. Last Friday actually, and I have 3 others filmed, and so if you guys want to see see bios of characters from the Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones world that never made it on D&D show and they're not POV characters, I got a lot of bios and I'm putting out more. And also my Pokemon role-playing game is about to be off its hiatus next week, so
Love it. The people on my channel, we love Thrones, we love House of Dragons. So hopefully someone will hop on over there and I'll plug it in the description. And Miss Jamie Lee, what are you fucking hanging with the Avengers or something?
Yeah.
What are you doing today?
Oh, you're talking to the cast of Succession tomorrow?
Yeah. Oh god,
yeah,
right.
You're gonna be like, and I watched from the beginning.
Yeah, right. Like she's fucking talking to Jeremy Strong tomorrow. Is that what's going on?
I love you, Tyrone. You're so fucking great. Asshole. What am I doing? Oh, actually, I did I watched Succession, but I did a live reaction to it. So I filmed me watching it. So I'm going to chop that up. Yeah, that's going to be cool to watch. If you like seeing me cry, sure. Which a lot of people do. Have you noticed that my videos where I cry in The Walking Dead, they get a lot of views.
It just proves that you're a human. And I think that's it. It just proves that you're a normal human.
Yes.
Okay. Something like that.
I mean, she is a Barbie too, but yeah.
Man, I'm gonna lose my shit soon. That comes out soon, July. Here we go, baby.
I know.
Anyway, so I've got it's the Succession thing that'll come out, and then also weekly I'm covering Fear the Walking Dead. So it's in its final season, and I'm loving it so far. So I'm tackling that hopefully weekly. So that should be coming out as well.
Also, check out Jamie's video on the So I Just Binged all of Succession. So it's her thoughts all the way up to the finale.
Yeah. Honestly,
I even watched it.
Did you? Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
I clicked like. Did I comment?
Pop up on mine. No, I'll definitely check that out because we haven't had the chance to honestly talk one-on-one about that. And I have tons of questions for you, so I'll definitely check that video out. Go check Tacos out. You guys know what I'm doing at the Circle Club. I'm trying to take over the TikTok world. Me and my buddy Yao jumping on another jet. I gotta plug him. That's my brother. Thank you all for watching. And man, I'm so happy that I got to watch it with you all. The session, it's finally over. Let us know in the comments below. Do you want us to come back one last time and bring us some of the funniest moments? Maybe we crack a beer or a fake beer.
Too bad. We're doing it anyway. Fuck you. Not really.
Comment down below. Thank you again, Taco, for joining, and get some rest, buddy. Take care. And as we always say here, just be you. Peace.